Hello, everyone. Today is Saturday, October the 2nd, 2021. Welcome to the Keeping It Real Conversation show with Sunshine. I am your host, Camila. We are live on my Facebook page, Sunshine Camila, Kamela. We are live on YouTube, the name of the show. We are live on Spotify, Mixcloud, Twitch. Put the name of the show in and you will find us. Again, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You are one person away, one advice away, and one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. Today, I am so excited to be in the land of the living. For one, today we have an awesome show. I only have one today, which is surprising, but I have Calvin Ray will be here shortly. Again, thank you for all of your support. I have some great news coming down the line for some more dynamic, awesome guests coming in this month. It's almost the end of the year, and we have been rocking since December of last year. I'm so grateful to be able to be here on the show and getting ready for this day. Again, if you are in the Detroit area, I will be a part of Flavor of Fall fashion show, which will be next Saturday, October the 9th at the Doubletree Hotel. If you want to come and be a part with me to support me in this endeavor, in this journey of doing something different for myself, you can go on Eventbrite, the name of the show, Flavor of Fall, or you can contact me to get a ticket. Regular admission is $25 and VIP, which is almost out, is $50. Again, come out and have a wonderful time. It is raffles, it is entertainment, as well as different segments. It has a kids section, women from all ages, shapes, sizes, forms. Also, we have the lingerie. I'm not doing that part, but however, to support my sisters, the host is who's doing this is Latrice Johnson. Please support her in her line. More to Me to Love is her brand. Again, I am waiting for our guests to come in, and we're going to have a great time with him. Again, this 6 degrees of separation is one of those moments where it has constantly proven itself that the connections are totally real, and it is much needed for us to get and support each other to get to where you need to be. Um, in this case, as always, most of the time with my guests, I know them either personally or I know somebody who knows them, and it's formed something miraculous that happens from there. I am definitely a connector. I'm a helper. I make sure that people get to where they need to be. Even if you don't stick with me, it's fine. It's, those who come on and tell their testimonies, their stories to promote their livelihood. Um, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So if you have a business, you have albums coming out, if you have something that you want to share, please get in touch with me, inbox me, and I will definitely put you on the show. Everyone has a story to tell, how they got to where they are. And I am blessed to be able to do this, to make sure that the world knows who you are and how you overcame, how you continue to prosper in this earth, that we're not alone, we're not by ourselves. We're all here together. I think my guest is here. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
So I've already did my introduction. So everyone, I want you to welcome Calvin Ray to the show.
Hey, everybody. Hey, hey, hey.
So while you're on here, everybody, please like and share on all platforms. This is monumental in my book. For one, I tell everyone how I know the guest that's on the show with me. Again, this is 6 Degrees of Separation. I actually got to meet him on someone else's show. He was doing a play with Andre Andrews, and I end up doing background for the play, and he was directing. So I'm like, wow. So when I just had Heather on not too long ago, she told me who the producer of this film was. And I'm like, wait, I remember this name. So when she did the picture, I said, oh my God, it's him. And so again, here we go, 6 Degrees of Separation. Now he's here on the show. So again, thank you for taking the time out to come here on the show, especially with the success of your movie.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity. Most definitely.
So you just had a premiere of the movie, what, about 2 weeks ago, maybe?
Yep. It was on the 19th. Well, the Detroit premiere was on the 19th. Yep.
So how was that?
Exciting. A lot of hard work. But it was good to finally put it in the faces of people and just hear the reactions of it. And I'm still overwhelmed by the feedback that we're getting, and it's just putting light, excuse me, light on a dark subject that people don't talk about, especially people in our community. We don't talk a lot about mental illness. So it's kind of close to my heart, even though I've been doing arts, performing arts and creative arts for the longest. It just feels good to actually give back in such a way that you can start these conversations with people who normally have been silent and just suffering in silence. Yeah.
And so tell the people about the movie.
Listen to the Silence is a psycho thriller. And it kind of turned into a psychological thriller just because of the content. But it's a psychological thriller that deals with the mindset of individuals who've had enough, who've decided to take their own lives. And so these individuals are it's your sister, your cousin, your brother, your mother, your leaders who are at the brink's end. And it's when life just gets you to a point where you can't make lemonade anymore out of those lemons. You've just decided that you want to end it all. And it's their conversations that they have right before the decision to make it. But it goes a little deeper than just them deciding to commit suicide. It looks at what led up to it, but also how do you get out of the hole? How do you get out of the dark hole? We all have a dark hole that sometimes sucks us in. And how do you use your resources to pull yourself out of that dark hole?
So I know I was talking to Heather, not knowing that she was a psychiatrist with social work and all of this stuff. And she said the role picked her, and the leading role, dealing with what she does on the regular basis, it was like, wow, definitely God sent. And it's really, with this pandemic, I don't think a lot of people realize how much this has dealt with our mental status. Um, Sometimes mental illness or mental issues don't always come out in our conversation, or they're looking for an appearance, like you're supposed to look like something, which I can wear a smile every day, but in the inside, I'm
Slowly
somewhere
dying.
else.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's only gonna take somebody to cut me off in traffic before I crack up.
Woo, yeah. It's just that little them little incidents are those triggers and stuff. But you brought up Heather. Heather is just phenomenal. Not only is she a phenomenal actress, but she just slayed this entire role. And everybody that's in it, it was as if God literally put them in that role. Yeah. So it was just great just to see her unleash. And you're right, it was right under her, is right in her field. And so some of the things that were written, she was like, were you looking at my notes? I was like, no. I mean, it was literally, when I was writing it, I was just downloading from what God had given me. And it's to touch on multiple lives. And looking at it from not just the viewer standpoint, but also looking at it from the individuals that were participating in it as well too. So it's more or less just making sure people can actually do some self reflection and see how does this really affect me. And you're right, with the pandemic and everything that's been going on around us, there's a lot of things that have just made us look inside. And a lot of times we look inside, we don't like what we see. And so this whole season, almost 2 years of nothingness that has just, it seems like as soon as you come out, there's one more thing that you got to overcome. And people that survive this, I tell them they have, they're champions, definitely champions. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I wasn't able to attend because I was actually out of town. But definitely if I was in town, I would have definitely been there because of the supporting of Detroit artists, but also the fact of this subject. And sometimes these conversations are not had until something happens.
Correct.
When some things run in the family and it's hush hush.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the point of when you go through certain things in life and you don't have that outlet to talk it out, or you don't want to go to counseling, or you feel like counseling didn't help. Again, you got to find some way to release. And for some, if you're not strong, you feel that ending your life is the best answer.
Especially in the Black community, we've been taught for so long that Black people don't commit suicide. Black people don't see a psychiatrist. Black people don't get therapy, and that's a fallacy, and that's a stigma that we as a society need to overcome, because we definitely need it. We need not only the therapy, but we need the source, the resources to kind of talk it out. And a lot of people just don't have that window to talk about. The age of suicide victims now has decreased. So you have kids 12 years old committing suicide. I was trying to figure out which truck I want to play with. And you're talking about some suicide. So they're having major thought processes that they don't know how to process or deal with, and it's causing just a gap. And you're right, people don't talk about it. We got more ghost family members that, we just don't talk about that anymore. We leave that alone. Let alone be let alone. Well, you can't let it alone if it's affecting the entire bloodline. So yeah.
And that again, I'm glad that this was on film for people to come and see. Are there going to be any other productions of, getting to Netflix or something like that? Or am I speaking it into existence? Which one is?
Well, it's kind of riding the wave right now. There's some things being worked out in regards to where it is. My goal was initially to get it premiered, was to get some feedback and see how it veered and how people enjoyed it or not, or if it touched lives. And the feedback was just overwhelming. And I'm so grateful for all those that were able to come, even those that sent well wishes. But we had a lot of people that just asked afterwards. They said, thank you for saving lives. Thank you for starting uncomfortable conversations. And so for me, it was more than just a movie. It was a movement. And so looking at how the movement moves and just kind of letting God just kind of lead this process from here on out has been the eye-opening part. So it's like, okay, turn left here. All right, go up 2 blocks. All right, stay right here. Across the street. So it's just literally listening to the voice of God and what's next. So yeah.
When Heather told me about it also, I said, well, this can be an evangelism tool.
Yep.
In the church world. Also, it can be another tool that can be used in the social work area. All of these that have anything to do with mental illness. For sometimes we, as people who learn a different way, have to see it visually, have to see it both visually and hearing it, where it actually connects. Especially if I can see myself in the reflection, then I can take it on as my own. So again, sometimes as creators, and creative people, sometimes we're the ones have to go through it for us to write it out the way we felt it.
Yeah.
The way we see ourselves, or wanting someone to help us. So with this topic, was that one of your, I won't say skeletons in the closet, but was that one of your issues?
Every character in the film, I is a part of me, in some shape, form, or fashion. And I write from a place of pain. And so some things have happened in the past. Some things have happened and triggered some things that allowed me to pull it off. But the thing that triggered this entire project, even before the film, when we were doing the play, was that I had 3 individuals that I knew directly that died by suicide within a 2-week time frame. It changed my entire life because as a minister, one of the families said, "Hey, we want you to eulogize, but don't talk about God. We're mad at him. And how can he take our child away from us? And on top of that, he's gone straight to hell." So it was a blank, like, excuse me. And so we had this long conversation, but they were really angry at God because they had been taught, hey, you commit suicide, that's the ultimate sin. There's no redemption. You go straight to hell. Boom. And so how do you eulogize that? How do you speak that? And God literally spoke to me and said, nobody knows the last conversation a person has between me and that individual. So I'm good enough to know that if you just preach love and speak on love, then everything else falls into play. And that's what I've been doing. And it comes from a place of love. So pain produces love, but you also have to be able to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, you know what? This ain't cool. Hey, that was me at one point. Hey, I identify with that. That's a trigger right there. Let's see something about it. And not even be afraid to sit down on the couch and talk. So yeah, talk it out.
Yeah, you have to. And I say this often. This year, right around my birthday is always the beginning of the year when everyone's doing the fast for the year. God told me, you're going to become the help that you once needed. And so I'm like, what do you mean by that? And so the previous month, I just started this podcast, and he said, I'm going to send you people who need to talk. Not necessarily meaning they're going to go to a counselor, they're going to go sit on the couch, but I want you to sit on the couch, and I want them to be able to be comfortable to talk to you. Like they forget that they're actually live, and we're ministering to one another in the place where they are or the place that they're going, and God starts speaking and begin to minister right there where they are. And so it's happening over and over again of using this platform for people to actually talk and let things out, forgive, survival moments, and putting life back into them, give them hope and faith and things of that nature. So when I see this, this creativity that God has given you, it's bigger than us.
Oh my God, so much bigger. Yeah, it is very much, very much
way so, yeah. Bigger than us. I'm just glad to be able to be a witness of it, of someone who's from here. When it gets to where it needs to get to, believe me, it's going to be well worth the moments, the nights up at night where you had to write, find you a piece of paper somewhere while you're out dining, and write down these conversations that most of us can relate to one way or another. So again, thank you, for shutting it down to be able to clearly write, pick the people that God actually spoke to you to give the parts to bring to life. So as far as the movie, what was one of the, I guess, the turning point in the movie that was like, this character is definitely me, even though I know you said part of them, each one is a part of you, but which one really, really stuck out to you?
Oh gosh, that I've never been asked that question. Who? Well, without giving a lot of the movie away, it's just, well, I will say this. You get to a point where everyone realizes that you need somebody. Everybody needs somebody that they're accountable to. And that accountability allows you to free yourself and your mind and your spirit of the darkness that hovers over you. One thing that's this pandemic has taught, if it hasn't taught anything else, is that ministry is no longer the brick and mortar. You can have church in your bathroom, your car, walking to the store, at the mailbox, waving at the neighbor. So the approach of ministry has definitely had to change. The face of ministry is totally unlike it used to be. And so in that, knowing that, you have to know that if you're called to a community, don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to listen. And so the whole title of Listen to the Silence comes in because people have gotten quiet. People have just shut down. And so it's allowing the vulnerability of people, but also yourself, to open up doors that otherwise would never have even been open. And so I guess each character has a turning point that they realize that, hey, this is bigger than me. And you said it yourself, when you're involved in something and it's bigger than you, and you let go and let God. Everybody doesn't have that luxury of letting go and let God. Some people, back in the day, we say, okay, go to church, go to the altar, pray about it, go home, everything's fixed. Don't work like that no more. I mean, you got to put faith without works is dead. So you've got to put some action into what you do. And so looking at, how do I take what I've learned, grow from that, and then allow my expression to benefit not only me, but those around me. That's life. That's real life. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know this is this your first film?
This is my first film. Yep. I've been doing theater and creative arts for years, but this one kind of pushed me into the whole world of filmmaking. So yes.
So how long did it actually take to write the script to this movie?
Ooh, well, I had to convert the script from the play into a screenplay. And that was probably hard because these characters in the play, they didn't have names, they didn't have ages, they only had characteristics. And so I literally had to create an entire personality around them and script it in a way that it came across on the screen. So overall, probably, I guess the whole process was about 6 months. It was about, yeah. So it was once I got in, I was deep. And it was crazy because even when we started shooting, I was still writing. I'd hear something and I'd write, or I'd change a line, or I'd change this, or I'd change that. And then I added a few more components even after we wrapped. So I don't think it ever finishes. It just keeps evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is good. Like I said, with being a creative being, sometimes our brain doesn't shut off. So how do you do with I guess the sleep? Are you sleeping, or is
sleep? What's sleep? You get it when you get it. You get it in, because I've never. Somebody asked me, when's the last time I had a good night's sleep? And I asked them to define it. And they said, well, like 8 hours. And I laughed for like 20 minutes because I haven't had 8 hours of sleep probably since I was born. But even when I was in college, I'm an early riser. So it doesn't matter what time I go to bed, I'm up early. And my brain doesn't shut off. And so it's like I'm constantly doing something. Am I looking at another opportunity, or writing this down, I have notes, like you said, everywhere. And so sleep is never, I can get 2 hours and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Now I'm ready to handle it. But my grandmother had me spoiled because when I was growing up, she made me take naps. So you can't beat a good nap. A good 10-minute nap will bless your whole soul for the rest of the day. So, but I don't sleep a whole lot. So they told me when you sleep, you're dead. So
yeah, I figured it was you wasn't sleeping, because even with being creative, your mind is constantly, I wish it would shut off. I wish, like, at any moment I'm going to be deep in the sleep. No, you're dreaming the next thing. Yep. You're dreaming the next conversation. Like, oh, I should have did that better. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So I figured you wasn't sleeping. So what's the thing that energizes? Are you a coffee drinker
Oh,
or
I'm definitely a coffee drinker, but caffeine has never been anything that keeps me awake. It's
okay?
just for the taste.
Uh-huh.
So I drink my coffee in the morning. I love Coca-Cola. So yeah, so it's just, but between Coke and coffee, but I don't drink it that much. But I'm naturally high energy. My metabolism is really high. So
Okay.
anybody that knows me says, "Oh, you get Calvin. If he gets you in the morning, he's on crunk," because I'm using like the Energizer Bunny early. As the day goes on, my energy level starts coming down. But overall, excuse me. But overall, I'm a morning person. But also, it doesn't really turn off though. It doesn't really turn off.
So what since the movie is just released and things of that nature, so what is the next thing for you?
Just kind of riding this wave, but also I've been afforded some opportunities to speak and really bring some light onto mental health outside of even the film. Just having uncomfortable conversations where people are saying, well, hey, thank you, I can actually talk to my daughter, talk to my children. So this has literally turned into a ministry for me. Even though I've pastored, I've been involved in church before. It's a different type of church now. It's a different type of ministry now. So it's this. And also I kind of revealed at the preview that there's a part two. So working on part two and all that other stuff at the same time. So it's just keeping the wheels rolling and just staying relevant. Yeah.
Right. So of course, without seeing the or telling the movie, are there some things that people can actually notice if someone is dealing with those mental illness or issues?
Everybody has a trigger, but don't just ask people questions like, hey, how you doing? And then walk away. Invest in that question, invest in that moment. Take a couple of seconds and check on people that you haven't talked to in a while. Just say, hey, thought about you, just reaching out, seeing if you're good. And wait for their response. Don't just say, because we know good, like love you too. And then it faints. And then we're so accustomed to doing and saying things as we walk away. So sit down, maybe have breakfast with somebody. Say, hey, just doing a one-on-one, just seeing how you doing. That's okay. And then watch their body language, look in their eyes, listen to the silence that's not even been said. Because a lot of times people, before they answer the question, they take a deep breath. Know how long that breath is, because that breath indicates how much stuff is weighing on them. And so you just begin to look at things that you normally wouldn't look at. Look at demeanor, look at behaviors, look at conversation, but make sure you become present in another person's life. We're so consumed with our own lives that we don't take time out. Even parents, I tell parents this all the time, check on your kids. Not just yell at them, just check on them. Find out how their day was. I mean, ask them, how was geometry? How was it? Because it could be a bully in their classroom that's freaking them out. How was lunch? They may not even be eating lunch because somebody's been stealing their money and stealing. So, I mean, there's so many things that kids don't just readily tell you. And when you hear these young people that are taking their lives, and I just found out something the other day, well, it's not the other day, but about a month ago, right before the preview, that really triggered me. They have depression parties. I had never heard of this before. And kids, they do depression. So they decide that day that this is the day they're going to be depressed. They wear certain colors. They don't speak to anybody. They walk around with their head down. And this is almost like occultic behavior, but these are spirits that are just hovering over our kids. And so they go in their room, they lock the door, and you don't know what they're feeding into their minds. So you've got to become present in their lives. And you're doing too much. Well, I'd rather do too much and you're alive than me not do enough and you're gone. So it just pushes us to another level of being present in the lives of everyone that's around us.
Yes, so. And that's important. That goes back into a lot of us in our 40s or higher. We had this conversation about the village and things that we miss when we grew up. Some things, even when my parents both worked, there was always somebody watching us. It was always somebody, my child, your child, together, listening to the conversation and be like, oh, y'all so nosy. No, I need to know what's going on.
Yep.
Also, my mom had a thing about you're not going to watch TV all day. You're not going to be outside all day. You're not going to do all of this stuff. And we're not going to have a conversation. So we all sat at the table and ate dinner together. And they asked us the questions. How was school today? What did you do today? What did you learn? What didn't you like? Things of this nature. And, we used to be irritated by it, but it was showing that our parents really cared. And then we had power hour, where all electronics was shut off. The house was silent. You either get a book or we're going to have Bible study and we're going to sit here and talk for an hour. And that was our foundation of our family, that you can be trusted in this house. Your opinion does matter, things of that nature. And so as we get older and we have our own children, my brother and sister, have implemented that same thing with their own children. To be able to conversate with them. My sister has 2 children who are touching in different spectrum of autism. And so one is in high school now. And so the conversation has to be had like, how is it? What is class like? What is this like? Because this is a totally different atmosphere for you.
Yep.
And so these conversations do have to be had, even for grown-ups who go to work every day.
Yep.
You can't even, I know we can imagine. We don't want to imagine that the person, my coworker next to me, is having an issue. Especially if you God is in you, you can feel when other spirits are not right.
Right. Yep.
And it's up to you to be like, okay, what's going on? How are you feeling today? What's going on? I feel like something's not right. And then at that point, they will come up to you and say, thank you for asking about me. I wasn't feeling good right then, but, I had to take a moment for myself and step outside, and now I feel better. Now, if you hadn't asked, and then later on you find out that they decided today is the day, you're going to feel some type of way that you might have had an opportunity to save that person and you didn't.
Yep. And you didn't even have to go deep. And I keep telling people, this isn't deep. Life isn't deep. Life is probably the simplest thing we have. And we complicate it because we like complications. And then complications are hard webs for us to get out of. And so we got to think it. And you're right. So if we can get back to that concept of villages, institute the village. And a village, I keep telling people, a village doesn't have to be 29 people. It can start off with 2 people, and then it grows from there. But you just have to make sure you become accountable in that village to not only be present, but to check on those that are around you and make sure that everybody is okay. Because every day is not a good day. It's okay not to be okay, but don't stay not okay.
Right. And then, like you said, have the accountable. I have to have people in my circle that I totally trust. Yep. That's not going to judge me if I tell you, you know what, I thought about falling today. I almost did. Yeah. And I don't need you to say, I told you so. I don't need you to right. I have been going through a moment where I was totally frustrated. Like, you know what? Let me ask myself some more questions about this.
Right.
And then somebody will come by and say, you know what? It's all worth it. Keep doing what you're doing. And I needed that. It's not that I have to come out here and blast on Facebook or Instagram and say, you know what? I'm not all right. And I could be around 50 million people and still not be all right.
Yep.
So like I said, I thank you for having this time to say sometimes a conversation that some of us are not strong enough to have. Yep. Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Yep. Not yet. So when you talk to a survivor, you're looking at one that was suicidal. And so if I had a picture right now of what I looked like 3 or 4 years ago, you would not believe I was the same person.
Wow. Well, but God, you see my shirt, but God.
Absolutely. I look like that. I promise you I did. And so I understand completely. Sometimes you're scared to actually open your mouth and let the bones fall out.
Yeah.
Because you've been putting them in the closet for so long and not understanding that you need to empty the closet.
Yeah. Yeah.
For you
One
to
bone at a time.
one bone at a time.
time.
And
Yeah.
you deal with that bone.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you'll be able to, breathe freely because you're not worried about nobody knowing your secrets because you didn't told it.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yep. So this is an
So
awesome platform. So God bless you for it. Definitely. Yeah.
I'm so excited, like I said, to hear of it, to see it, to live it. And sometimes it was the silent moments. No one knew. Smiling, laughing, joking, and I was dying in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
But again, God sent a message to me, even in my doing whatever I wanted to do. Go here, go there, follow the instructions, and I'm here today. And
Amen.
so again, I thank you for this film. I recommend this film to any and everybody, not just because if you have a mental illness, not because if you know somebody who committed suicide. It's something for you to understand and take in for yourself.
Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself.
Got to take care of you. Yes.
If
Yeah.
you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of your kids, your husband, the people that you're around. None of that
Yep.
matters if you're not good.
Have you noticed on the airplane when they say in case of emergency, your air ducts will open up and the breathing apparatus will come out? Please put on yours first before you
First,
assist others. So you can't deal with anybody else unless you first deal with yourself. Because if you're freaked out, you can't freak somebody else out that's already freaked out. So you've got to take care of me. And then once me's taken care of, then you can help others.
yes. And sometimes as habit, we're so used to helping others and not ourselves. I
Yep.
don't know where we get this from, where we put everybody before ourselves as if
Yep.
that's being selfish. And it's not.
No, not at all. Not at
It's
all.
not. If I can't be my best that day, if I can't get up, then I can't help anyone else. I'm gonna
Right.
make you fall
There
or
you
go further off or where you are.
go.
So
Yep.
again, these conversations are a must. It's necessary, especially with I read a story not too long ago. A young boy, I think he might have been like 6. He committed suicide because he was being bullied at school,
Yep.
both physically as well as on social media. And so we can't just put our kids in front of a TV, have them on phones, and we don't know what they're watching. We don't know what's being deposited into them. I
Yep.
remember also as a kid, your TV had to be off at a certain time.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
not running all in the middle of the night while you're sleeping.
Or you don't have access to go and turn it on in the middle of the night and just, and I'm not faulting parents now, but it's easier just to say, here, take this, get out of my face. Here, take this, move over here, be quiet. And so a lot of times those cries are cries for help. So it's not life as usual. You gotta be smarter and wiser in handling any child or any person or any life other than yourself. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to see what the next, although we know it's gonna be a 2, the
Well,
next venture.
I'll make sure I keep you posted so you can actually listen to the silence in its entirety. And so we're gonna make sure I keep you posted as to when you can see it.
Absolutely, please do. Like I said, it speaks volumes beyond, like I said, and everyone that God gives assignment to, they all can't handle what you just wrote.
True.
They
True.
can't. And so you have to be a special individual for God to give you the words, because it didn't come from you. It came from
not
him.
at all. Not at all.
For him to say and to show, bringing light to this conversation. And there's a lot of people who have not been diagnosed or don't even know. My husband just told me this not too long ago. Even though we were best friends and we separated, we had our own lives, and God brought him back to me now as a husband. When he was re-entering as my boyfriend, he said, babe, you didn't even know how depressed you were.
Wow.
He said you were overweight, which you never really was.
Mm-hmm.
Your house was cluttered everywhere. All of these signs, and nobody saw it but him. And so when I say and I testify about how the deep this love goes for him, I felt like he came in hell,
And
grabbed me,
got you
put
right.
me on his shoulder, and took me out and cleaned up everything. And loves on me to this day, every day. Hi, good morning,
Unconditionally.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning, beautiful. Good night, beautiful. Kiss and all during the day I get text messages. I'm just checking on you. I'm just thinking about you. And I said, wow,
Yep. That's
somebody
powerful.
needs that.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
needs to know that you are loved and you are cared for.
Yep.
And so many people don't have that.
Yep. You're right. Yep.
So, Mr. Ray, you have shown that somebody needs this conversation.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is more deeper than we can even imagine. And it's not a look, it's not a race, it's not none of that.
Mm-mm. No.
I need to be able to say, hi, good morning, how are you? And
Yep.
smile. And you just don't know how it lights somebody up, especially our elders. I work in a clinic. They don't have nobody.
Yep. Yep.
And nobody has patience for them with their questions or their concerns. All I want to do is see a doctor. You
Yep.
know how much stuff they got to go through just to find
Yep.
a doctor?
Yep. Yep.
Somebody got to do it.
Yep. Somebody's got to do it. So yep. Sometimes, and it's just that those few moments of interaction can save a life. Can definitely save a life. Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. So again, I'm excited. I am, you just don't understand. This subject right here, not only, like I said, in the church world, it needs to be talked about, but everywhere you go. Now I'm glad that you're here so people know what you look like.
It's me, y'all.
Your name will be out here. And I'm praying much success on the
Thank you.
movie. So, Netflix, if you listening, Amazon Prime, if you're listening,
If you're listening.
it got to be out here so it can be streamed. Not only are we going to be able to, finance the kingdom, but people need to be saved off of what is going to be on the screen.
Yes, yes, yep. And all God asked me to do was give him a yes. I gave him my yes, and the rest is in this court. So yep, yes.
So did you see yourself, and I know you said you have been in the arts for years. Did you see yourself actually making a film, or you just thought you was going to do theater?
Every time I do something, there's a bigger picture behind it, but I'm not usually looking at the bigger picture. I'm so used to creating these moments, and I invest in those moments and shine the light. And then I'm like, okay, what's next? So I'll do it and I'm moving like, what's next? What's next? But when I did listen to the silence, my mother literally was being very, very prophetic and prophesied and said, this is bigger than what you think. And I was like, well, I just want to get it out there. I just want to get it out there. She's like, well, it's bigger than what you think. And not even thinking film even then. And I hadn't thought film until the pandemic. And then when things got shut down and everything kind of halted, I was like, God, what do I do? He said, listen to the silence to a film. I was like, huh? What you talking about, Lord? And so literally he gave me the blueprint. I've worked on films, I've worked on projects, but I'd never done it myself. And so doing it on my own gave me another appreciation for it, but it also gave me an opportunity to mold it the way that God was telling me to mold it. And I won't take that back at all. So now I definitely saw it. Looking back, I'm like, wow, that's what that was setting up for. Okay, wow. So the hindsight is 2020. So you're like, oh wow, that's where that came from. So I understand it now. But when I first wrote it, I wasn't even thinking film. I'm thinking Broadway. I'm thinking something. Yeah.
So yeah, especially when I've seen you in action. When I came at the end of the rehearsals,
Uh-huh.
and making sure you in your spot, no, say your line, do this, do that. Okay, y'all talking too much, all of that. And so to be able to give birth to another level of ministry um, right before your eyes is another appreciation for God and his creativity. For
Yeah.
one, again, he could have gave it to someone. He could have gave it to me. God, why you didn't give it to me? But however, he gave it to you. And so again, I have been learning about God give, sometimes that struggle or that experience to you on something you're already doing. And then he'll turn around and give it to you again and then bless you for
Yeah.
it. Just
Yeah.
something you was already doing.
Yeah.
And so he just saying that you have more gifting in you than you even see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
so
realized through this whole process, I'm a developer. And so anytime I have a chance to develop people, not just for the project, but for life, everyone that was in the play that is now in the movie said that this role probably stretched them farther than they could have ever imagined, because my responsibility was not only just to their craft, but for those that were viewing it so that they could grab hold of it. So I've learned over the years to develop others and learn how to develop others. I'm great. I always, anybody knows me knows I have a team, and it's never just about me. There's a whole team of people that are behind me, in front of me, on the side of me, working with me to bring this magic to light. And so I appreciate that gift that God has given me, just to galvanize individuals to not only support the vision, but to help push the vision.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody got to be the one that not only go dig for the gems, but process the gems and then look at them and be like, you didn't even know you was, did you? No, I did not.
Right.
And
Right.
so
Right.
again, this area touches on a lot. Sometimes when we hear tragedy, especially with suicide, we always ask the question, why?
Mm-hmm.
We always question, well, what could I have done differently?
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, the person, the loved one close, sometimes take it personal, that they were the cause. In some conversations, it comes with we're not shifting blame. We're not even going to do the blame game.
Yep.
This is just a conversation to let you know I'm hurting, that someone sees me, to ask me, how did I get here? And for some, they don't even know how they got here.
Yep. Yep.
And it's the truth. They don't
Yep.
know. Like I can't pinpoint what part of life got me here. Sometimes they wake up and the spirit is so heavy, you might have got it from someone else. Who
Yep.
knows?
Yep.
But the conversation, again, this is a conversation piece that we have to have, not only with our kids, our elderly, because some of us have elderly and they put them in the nursing home and no one goes to see them. And in
Yep.
this place, they weren't allowed to come see you.
Right.
Or
Yep.
things
Yep.
of that nature, where life, when you see life, life begins. And for them not to be able to see anyone, that might have triggered them. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? What is the individual's breaking point? You never know. It could be the person cut you off. It could be piled on stuff. But yeah, you're right. You're right. You never know. You never ever know. Yep. Especially after the person is gone. So that's why it's important for us to have these uncomfortable conversations and not play the blame game, but also just take responsibility of being present. Just being able to converse with your loved ones on a whole nother level. I had this young lady from my hometown. Her son committed suicide. Her eldest son committed suicide a few years ago. They didn't talk about it. His name became Ghost. We don't talk about him. We just don't bring it up. Well, the younger son just committed suicide a few weeks ago. And now they're forced to talk about it because it was something that could have been avoided, some deep, dark secrets that had never been discussed. And mom found out that a lot of what her kids suffer is what she bore in her womb. And so there's a lot of things that we inherit spirit wise that we just transfer to our kids, and we never deal with it. The hurt, the pain, the anguish, the disappointment, the anything, even sitting in the window, waiting on your daddy to come home, and he never shows up. That affects a person's mental, because now you're used to disappointment. And then, so you don't know how to handle it. So there's so many triggers that we just don't talk about. It's like, oh, don't make an excuse for somebody. Just talk about it. How does that make you feel? Because everybody is entitled to the way they feel.
And everybody processes things differently. I would say that even with the passing of my father, it was 3 of us siblings, and we all dealt with my father's death differently. And so we didn't know we were all handling it differently, even with his condition differently, until years later. And I'm like, wow. So I was assuming this, and you were assuming this, and until the conversation came up, we all assumed that we were all okay.
Yeah.
And we wasn't.
Yeah.
And so it brought an enlightenment on how to handle my mother, who was now the widow, how to handle my sister, how to handle my brother, because I was the oldest. And even in that, I had to have moments where I had to learn grief and understand what grief looked like for me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things, again, is, you figure out how to live after this when your normalcy is not normal anymore.
Yeah.
And one other movie or show that really triggered or had a conversation for me and a lot of people was Greenleaf.
Oh my God.
His daughter committed suicide, and we would later find out why she committed suicide. And all these different secret dramas that was going on in the house that nobody want to talk about.
Nobody wants to talk about that. Then that's it's sad, but that's Black culture, where we have more secrets than we have conversations. And it's like, let's break that stigma. So by the time we have that conversation, we don't tear a whole house down. You're right.
We're doing stuff in secret just to cover up the secret that happened 20-some years ago. And you're wondering why things feel like you're missing something, or what are you talking about? Somebody else in the neighborhood knows the secret and they throwing hints, and you trying to figure out what is you talking about.
Right.
Oh, like, oh goodness. So again, I'm so excited. You just don't understand. I'm so excited. I think my jaws then different color from smiling so much.
I appreciate it.
But again, I thank you for coming to the show today to talk about the movie, I'm excited about part 2, talk about the ministry that you're having, to be able to talk about mental illness, because it's much needed. Every day that if I didn't have a personal relationship with God, I'll be messed up. And you get on Facebook, you get on Instagram, and every day somebody has passed away.
Yeah. And it's sad. And they're younger. It doesn't. Somebody said, "What's the face of suicide?" I said, "Look in the mirror." So it can look just like you, it can look like your neighbor, it can look like anybody. So there's no face. It's not a white thing. It's not a Asian thing. It's not a Black thing. It's a life thing. And so we've got to make sure that we tackle mental illness, because just like the spectrum, when they came out with the spectrum, it really put a light on the entire stream of autism. You can be very mild to very severe. I have a nephew who's very severe, but I also have a nephew who's very mild. And so their triggers are totally different. However, they're still on the spectrum. So all of us have a mental health spectrum that we fall on. And so one day you might be on the mild side. The next day you might be on the extreme side. But guess what? You're still on the spectrum. As long as you have breath and life in your body, you are on the mental health spectrum, and you've got to check in. You got to check
Gotta
in.
check in.
Not
I just did one the
non-negotiable.
other day. I promise you I did. I said on Facebook, family and friends, this is the check-in time. You could choose to, say hi. I know where I was and I know my reasoning for what I did.
Yep.
Without saying, hey, I'm having one of those moments. Somebody gonna come save me. It wasn't like that. But at the same time, I'm concerned. I want to know how you doing. And some people be like, well, why are you just texting me? Why are you doing this? I said, because I know when I was going through and I didn't have a strong enough moment at that time to say, I need help. Somebody out of the blue that God sent to me was right there on time to save me from doing something crazy. Doing something to myself, doing something to someone else. So if I feel you in my spirit and I say, hey, how you doing? I'm just checking in on you. Then that's your moment to say, you know what? I needed that. You know what? I appreciate you. And like, go on about your business unless you want to talk.
Right.
I'm here. I'm here for all of that.
Yep. And even if you don't say anything back, just knowing I'm there sometimes helps save a life. So sometimes it's in that silent moment where a person just goes off. At least you've planted a seed. That's the main thing. You've planted a seed for them to live and prosper. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for all those who haven't had a chance to know who Calvin Ray is, I want you to follow him because this is not only personal to me, but there are so many people who don't even realize they need this. They need this conversation. They need to know that someone cares. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for none of that. I just want you to smile. I want you to live. I want you to be in good health. I want all of that for you.
Yeah.
But you got to want it as well. So I appreciate him for his creativity that God has given to him to be able to put on film about mental illness. So again, thank you for much success. I know I'm going to be around. I know I'm going to see you. Because again, the greatness, hey, just started. Now it's in the stratosphere. Now it's up to you what you going to do.
There you go. I received that.
Netflix, if you hear me, Netflix and Amazon Prime and all of these, if we're going to Hollywood nowadays, if we're going to Atlanta, wherever.
Right. Speak it.
Yes.
Speak it.
So I can say he was on my podcast. He was on my podcast. Yes, he was.
And like I said, I definitely appreciate the opportunity, and God bless you for being a survivor and whatever and however it was and the road to get here. Guess what? You made it. So God bless you as well too. And so tell your husband he did a good thing. He did a good thing.
Absolutely. I'm sure he's watching. So again, thank you, Mr. Ray. I will see you soon, and let me know when I can actually see the film.
I definitely will. You're on the top of my list.
Okay. All right. See you later.
All right. Bye now. Be blessed, everybody.
All right. Bye.